Dipito. How you doing, Keda?
I'm doing great. It's great to be here. Happy Wednesday, hump day.
Happy Wednesday. Salutes. I've got my
Salute.
I've
I
got
have my
my
libations. Do you have your libations?
I got a little bit of libations going
All
on.
right.
A little
Let's
white
go on
Russian.
ahead and do a toast,
Uh,
young lady.
tink.
A toast to
Uh,
Dipito.
oh, hmm. So how have you been? So I want to say welcome to those of you joining us here on Dipito. We have a special show for you in store. Of course, we have Keda joining us again, and we have a special guest, Allan Staple from the Staple Crew, is going to hop on here shortly, and we're going to be talking about little some Melissa questions regarding Bitcoin mining and little questions regarding exchanges and that sort of thing that Allan will be able to school us on. Um, but you said you had a couple things on your mind today, Kita.
Yeah, so there's a lot happening right now, man.
Yeah.
Um, And especially, we're seeing lots of things. We've seen some movements, price movement, as well as some dips. We've seen some buys. We've had the Bitcoin halving. Um, that happens, if I'm not mistaken, what, 420? Or
Oh,
was it
I
419?
I think it just happened a couple of days ago. Yeah.
Yeah, it did.
Probably.
It
Yeah.
happened on like 420. And so that's happened. Hopefully, we'll start to see some type of price appreciation when it comes to Bitcoin and the other altcoins that'll probably follow it right on up. Um, and we're seeing a lot of things that are happening geopolitically. Everything from, Israel and, Israel and Iran, and then our involvement. And then there was a bill passed, if I'm not mistaken, Joe Biden had gone ahead and signed the the bill that actually allowed for assistance to the Ukraine and then also to the other skirmishes. I just find it interesting that they find all this money to send overseas, but they can't do anything for the people here in the United States. I think that's a bit much. I'm not saying that
It's
other places
crazy.
don't need aid. I just feel like um, we have people here that need aid that aren't getting it.
Yeah.
Um, so, not to mention the fact that we're so far in debt, I can't even talk about it.
It's like monopoly money, really.
It
It
is.
really is. And this is the thing too. Sending so much money, they give it, they slap it and say that it's over. They're sending it overseas and they're doing this and that. Um, I'm not so sure that the money is
Do you
actually
see my
going.
face right
Yeah,
now?
I mean, it's all a bunch of lies. There's so many lies happening, and it's unfortunate too because I mean they just continue to manipulate, and it makes me sick. It makes me sick to my stomach, you
Well,
know.
my concern, here's my concern. My concern is that we have um, some very calculated things that are happening right now that have been in the works for I can't even tell you how long, probably longer than I've been alive. Um, and what that says to me is that we have we have a lot of programming going on, and we're in the midst of it.
Yeah,
We're in the midst of the programming. We're in the midst of the, let's herd these people over here and have them doing this over here while we have another group of people over here that we're hurting a different way with different ideologies and things. So
yeah,
I'm just more concerned with the divisiveness of, the divisiveness of them just trying to separate everyone. You know what I mean? I just it bothers
I
me.
feel I feel you. I feel you. Our friend Allan is here. Let's bring him into. Hello.
Hello,
How are you?
hello.
Doing fine. How are you ladies tonight? Sorry I'm a little late. I had a little technical difficulty down here in the office, but I'm glad to be with everybody.
Awesome.
Well, welcome
Thank
to
you for coming.
Dip-a-Toe. We're excited to have you.
We are.
We were just kind of shooting the breeze, and Keda brought up the recent package that was approved to send again overseas, and you know, kind of voicing some, you know, frustration with that, and us actually thinking that the money is probably not going for what they say it's going for, as usual.
No.
So
Part of the course.
Yeah. Kind of sad, really. You know, it's we elect these people to do what's best for us, and it's amazing how they just seem to do the exact opposite.
Yeah.
I don't know where they got that idea. Yeah,
I
would
think
get
it's
them
more of them
reelected.
doing the best for themselves. I don't even think it has
Right.
anything to do with us, to be
No.
honest with you.
Well, guys, before we start off the show, I want to welcome there's 19 of you watching. We want to say thank you so much for joining us again here on Dip-a-Toe. If you'd please like, share, and subscribe this, and share this stream out so that we can get more people in here. And also, again, welcome, Allan. And if you would please tell the audience a little bit about yourself. I know most people know exactly who you are, but some of our viewers may not know who you are. And so if you'd please, you know, introduce yourself. And
I'm Allan Staple. I have a little show with my son, and occasionally my wife and I get together and we do a show as well. And it's sort of a monologue that I like to do. I sort of get in the mindset of doing my thing and expressing what I've learned over the years, being an economist and understanding how money works and how it doesn't work for the people, and trying to just really use my skills as a communicator to help people kind of really more from the bottom up, and then try and get them to see the big picture. I really love the future. The concepts for me of where we're going and how it can be better tomorrow than yesterday is really what I really try to emphasize. And that some people it resonates with, and then some people it just, you know, yeah, you pie in the sky dreamer type guy. So, but overall, my background is I'm a yacht captain. Originally, when I was in my 20s, I was meant to be a stockbroker. And right after doing all the hard part of studying for years, and really that was my life ambition for many years. And right after accomplishing my whole dream, we had a little crash in October of '87, and I was just a young buck. And I learned so much that day. They threw us all out on the street, like literally we were out on the street. And I had just pretty much quit my full time. I used to be a grocery store manager, and I worked my way up through the ranks as a young kid. And I was actually the manager of a store, quit all of that just to be a broker. And then like literally, I want to say 6 weeks later, I was thrown out on the street. And
oh man,
it was a tough lesson. Yeah, but what I learned in those very short period of time of being a broker was I didn't like it. You know, you find out it's your dream, you know, and then you get there and you're like, wait a minute, I have to.
Not so good, is it?
No, you can't believe the disgusting things we used to do. I mean, I like literally this. I won't get into detail. But as a young broker, one of your jobs is to go through the obituaries.
Oh no!
Oh wow!
Yeah, to like prove, you know, be a predator of those families, because you know the matriarch is passed, and they're like their finances are up in the air. Like that's how bad it was. I won't get into much more detail than that, but so that, and my son Brent is on the show with us on Sundays, and the B-Man and I were in a car accident right when he was just a young pup, you know?
Oh no.
Yeah.
And so it really turned my life. And I said, you know, I got to go back into being Allan and being outdoors and be with people. So I got really fortunate. My life's been a series of just good fortune after good fortune after that. So it's really been fun. But anyway, many of you who have seen my show, I've just been given something. I'm not sure what it is. Elizabeth handed me this, whatever this
Hi.
is. There's Elizabeth.
Hello.
Oh, the banner for
Oh,
our party.
The banner. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, there we go.
The
Yeah.
banner.
So that's in a nutshell what I do. Yeah. I
Well,
want to
we're
hear
glad
about
to
what
have you.
Keda does.
Yeah. Keda, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah.
All right. So just to kind of let you know, I'm a nurse by trade. I'm an oncology nurse.
Oh.
And I've only just become that about 5 years ago. So this is a second career for me and a calling. So I'm thankful for that. I came into this space as a complete novice and newbie and not techie and all of the things. But I'm a critical thinker. So
Right.
for me, I can take the things that are being, thrown at me and look at it and go, not so much. Or, yeah, that works. And then just use logic, because in a lot of instances, you can read something and say, okay, there's more that needs to be, dived into here, just so that you can really get a better understanding. And I think what happens is that, most people, I'm not going to say all, but most people nowadays have a very short attention span. So they don't necessarily read like we used to. And not only do they not read, but not only do they not read, but they don't read to the end.
Exactly.
Normally, the last paragraph is where you find the most information.
The meat, right?
Yeah, the meat and bones of it is normally right in the last paragraph, right? I'm not saying skip to the end. I'm just
Yeah, right. Agreed.
As you read through, you do get context. And I think, information is out there. It's there.
Yeah.
Everywhere. So I think it's just really important. And as we are getting into this, I know Melissa and I have talked about this in the past. If you're into this space and you're still in this space, it means you were chosen for this space.
That's right.
I believe that. I truthfully believe that, because if everybody was supposed to be chosen for it, they'd be here.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And they also would be receptive to what you have to say. I mean, I can't even tell you how many times I've had people have the deer in headlights glassed over eye look.
Yeah.
When I'm having a conversation with them, when I'm trying to tell them something that could really help them, help them and their family. So for me, I appreciate the space, and I feel like, as someone who has been chosen in the space, I feel like those that don't have any know-how about the space, about digital assets, about economy, and about how money works, which most of us don't. They don't teach us that. We don't know about it. And because we don't know about it, we can get wrecked. So if I don't say something, I'm complicit in it, So that's my main focus is, hey, get your mind right.
Yeah.
Hey, learn some things, right?
That's right.
Because the minute that these things happen, and if things go the way we believe they will go, this is not going to do anything except for enhance who you are already.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. So well put. Exactly.
So if you're a jerk, you're going to be more of a jerk.
Exactly.
If you're a good person, you're going to be more of a good person, and you're probably going to be, more apt to try to help those who don't necessarily have what you have.
Yeah.
So I think it's very important that we kind of, really focus on making sure people has their head in the game, because as quickly as you can get it, is as quickly as you can lose it. So
that's it.
That's my thought process.
That's a fantastic way of looking at it. And all of us come from such different perspectives that it's odd how we all kind of come to the same conclusions so much because we come from so many different walks of life. It's just amazing. It's like, how did we all get here? You look around after a couple of years, and then I get to meet incredible people like you two ladies. And I'm saying to myself the whole time, I'm like, wow, like they get it. They get it. They get, like you were saying, I can't tell you how many barbecues I've ruined. Not just going on about crypto, but
Exactly.
like when I get around you two, it's like, well, they get it. How we get it? What's the matter with what are we doing here? It's sort of frustrating, but we're in this together, and that's for sure. Yeah.
But I think they bank on that as well, Ellen. I think they bank on the fact that people aren't going to necessarily believe something that's right in front of their faces.
That's it. Yeah, they're busy. Or they make what those of you who don't know, I was a Forex trader for many years. And the biggest issue that most people make is they get in late and out early. Like you bought at the top. Oh, well, I lost money on it. Well, what do you mean you lost money? Well, I sold it. Well, that's
when you lost it.
You lost it because you sold it.
What are you doing? You can't win the hand if you fold, right?
Exactly.
Like, what are you doing?
Exactly. I try to tell
bad.
people that all the time. Listen, you don't lose money if you don't sell. Like,
that's it. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Know what you hold. Do your own research, and I know that many of us say that in this space to the point of being nauseating with it, where people are just like, oh gosh, here they say it again. But you can't say it enough, because if you do know what you hold, if you do your own research in these projects and you look at the connections, and put your thinking caps on, you're not nervous about it. You're not selling when it goes down, or and then for someone like myself, I'm not a day trader type person. I just don't feel comfortable in it with that. And so I've chosen projects that I see that are going to do something wonderful in the future. Like I'm playing the long game, I guess. And
that's
Simon and I had a show earlier, a couple weeks ago, where we talked about understanding why you're invested. Decide why you're invested, what your intention is. Because there's a big difference between someone that's trying to make a quick buck because they are comparing this to being a lottery ticket winner, and somebody that is setting themselves up for retirement and family legacy, right? Family wealth. And so, I want to say hello to all the wonderful people. We got 29 people in here. Lisa,
nice.
Lisa, for you to know, of course, Brent Staple is in here. The new mindset. I don't know who that guy is.
Who's Brent Staple?
Crypto Professor, we love you. And our good friend Tio Trini, who is also a co-sponsor of our Las Vegas party.
I cannot wait to meet Tio. I've heard nothing but fantastic things. I can't wait.
Yeah, it's going to be fantastic. So those of you that are going to XRP Las Vegas, please send an email to XRP Social or XRP Community Social
at
gmail.com and RSVP for that, and we'll let you know where it's at. It's a super secret location.
It was.
Well, we're actually, the party is growing. There's a lot of people that want to come to this party, and there's only so many spots available. So we kind of have to be a little, and then of course the Staple crew, Mr. Allan Staple, the biggest sponsor, is hosting it, and so it's going to be a great time. We're really looking forward to it. So we all are similar in our way of thinking, and I love this space so much, where we all feel like we're chosen, and we've all kind of been drawn. We feel like we've been drawn to one another. And that's one of the things that, you know, I always say you can't give somebody else your oil, right? You either got it or you don't. And we have it, and we continue to collect together. We're just like magnets, being drawn to one another. And the things that I have learned in this space from folks like Allan and you, Keda, and Crypto Professor and Brent, and all these wonderful people, I'm so thankful for it. And I'm learning every day something. You know, I have my own perspective on things, but I never want to be the smartest person in the room. I want to learn from other people. And so Allan, Allan and I were talking the other day, and you know, I have some confusion, a slight confusion, although I have, you know, studied up on Bitcoin. You know, I have my own set of concerns in that when it comes to Bitcoin, and I have some questions regarding Bitcoin and the mining and the electricity part of it. And so I thought that is one of the topics that we would like to cover this evening, because I'm sure Keda has questions for you as well in regards to Bitcoin. But someone posted the other day, and they were, you know, they were talking about it being decentralized, and it had to do with the Bitcoin halving too. And then how it's going to end up, they're going to make less, or it's going to be harder for them to make money, I guess. And what I'm super excited about the things that Bitcoin's doing in regards to trying, like, inspiring people to use energy wisely, use wasted energy, tapping into the grid and becoming partners. But part of my concern is, I know that it can't be more than 51%, or you need a 51% or greater to actually take over, you know, be able to take over. And part of the beauty of Bitcoin and the blockchain is that it is so decentralized. My concern comes in when it comes to the expense of running a mine. And there's a lot of bigger companies that they ate up a lot of the small guys, and then being able to afford the ASICs, being able to negotiate electricity contracts and those types of things. And so I just wonder why some folks are not concerned about the big guys kind of taking over, because it seems like it would be an easy thing to do. And so could you kind of speak to that a little bit, or tell me where I'm wrong?
That's like 5 questions.
I know. I'm sorry.
Okay, man, that's going to be a tricky one.
I know.
Okay, I'll start with the last one first, if you will.
Thank you.
The hardest part for them to take over the Bitcoin at the 51% for them is what the first question was energy usage. It would take a ton, a ridiculous amount of electricity to create enough power all at once and control enough computers of the 51% to make that happen for them. It's now becoming a physical, not likelihood, put it that way. It's physically becoming more and more complicated and difficult for somebody to overrun it now. Okay.
So basically like a physical limitation, you're saying?
That's correct. Yeah. So that everybody thinks, oh, well, the bigger the companies get, and now we have nation states that are actually running their own mining systems to create more Bitcoin, they're squeezing the little guy out. This is absolutely correct, what's happening. However, when nation states are competing not with guns, they're competing to gain more Bitcoin, it solidifies the strength of the coins, right? So what's their now incentive? Their incentive is to mine more, hold more, and not spend them for Starbucks coffees, which in turn makes them more and more scarce, more rare, and more valuable.
Is that not what you were talking about in your video earlier today?
Yes. Oh, was that
Okay.
today? Yeah,
Was it today or yesterday? I watched the video that you were talking about, the fact that, it's going to cause the scarcity.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. That probably. Yeah. Was that the gold video?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry. That was this morning's video. Yeah, that's
Yes.
right. It is creating scarcity. It is harder and harder for the little guy to mine. But remember, there's mining, okay, and there's running a node, right? So a lot of people just can run a laptop and run a node, which is strengthening the network. I believe there's over 100,000 different people who are running nodes on their laptops to strengthen the network, just like staking does. Only it's a way for the little guy to solidify the system and strengthen it, so it would require more and more and more and more laptops to get the 51%. Right?
Can I ask a question? Can we go backwards a little bit?
Sure.
So I was listening to I want to say Swan Signal or something like that. Hey Joanna, hey Whiteboard, thank you guys for coming. I was listening to Swan Signal, and there was 3 fellas talking about the Bitcoin halving, and where they kind of saw the miners going, and the challenges that they were going to face and that sort of thing.
There are challenges,
and they said a few things that I was already thinking, but I hadn't heard a lot of people talk about, and which it kind of goes to my concern, or maybe it's not a concern, it's just different than what I thought initially Bitcoin represented or was going to be, right? I think it's,
okay,
in my opinion, it's kind of it's different than what I initially thought. But the fact that you need these ASIC computers, very I don't even know what like supercomputer type thing, these ASICs, they're not cheap. They're not cheap, and so the little guy can't afford that. And in order to I mean, some little guys could probably afford it, but these big farms that are coming up, they're able to negotiate prices with the electric company, to get a certain price on their electricity. And apparently these guys, the ones that have been playing the long game, they already had these things negotiated out. They made their business plan, they figured it out, and they were able to do that. Not everybody is able to do that. Now, what you just said about having the countries do it, is that kind of leading me to believe that it's going to be decentralized across the world, but maybe the countries are going to have a lion's share of running these miners? Am I wrong? I mean, it seems like that's the direction it would be going.
Okay, yes and no, right? Okay, so every 4 years, okay, we just went from 6 1/4, okay, every 10 minutes, every block is formed, correct? So we just the halving went from 6 1/4 to 3 1/8, right? So in 4 years, it'll only be 1 1/2. Okay. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Every 4 years, the reward every 10 minutes gets cut in half.
Smaller.
Okay.
So that basically means you have to do more in order to be able to make more money off of the Bitcoin.
Or to address the question, it becomes less important to the future of it, because let's remember, we're not going to mine the last Bitcoin until 2150. Okay, so and it's going to be, I think it's 2034 will be the last time you get a whole Bitcoin.
Yeah. Wow.
per 10 minutes. So you can imagine what that's going to do to the price, right?
Yes.
So like if you're a little guy and you only get 1/10 of a Bitcoin today,
Yeah.
and you're in East Asia or you're in wherever,
Yeah, but
and
$1.10
a lot.
is $6,600.
Yeah.
that's right.
What?
Like
Right.
you, like what's going on in Central and South Africa right now with mining is changing the continent. Okay, because $2 an hour to somebody here in this country is nothing. They make $2 a day. Okay, so let me backtrack and explain kind of what that means to them. What that means to most people on the planet is, okay, well, I have an opportunity because I live in the middle of nowhere. What do I have? I have sunlight. I can do solar. Perfect. Where in the history of mankind have you ever had a money tree in your backyard? You never had one. Now, these little villages can set up some solar panels, and they don't need to be next to hydroelectricity dam. They don't need to do what you were explaining about. I made this great contract with the power company, and I get power cheaply. I'm going to address that as well here in a second. But let's remember these little villages are now having lights on and having electricity in these villages because of the mining that's going on with the computers, that the laptops that are able to mine, or one ASICs machine is able to mine. Okay, and you say, oh, well, that must use all the electricity. Well, no, it doesn't. It creates more reasons for them to find new electricity. And what happens is when it gets beyond the mining, let me backtrack. For a kilowatt hour, okay, you and I think, okay, well, why would a power company make electricity? They only have one use for it, right? To power laptops and to power light bulbs or a Tesla, right? That's it. So what's their incentive, okay, to make power cheaper and cheaper and cheaper? They have no incentive. It's only just like oil, price only go up. But now these Bitcoin miners have come along and they're saying, hey, no, that's not good enough. I want it cheaper than that. And if you can't get it to me cheaper than that, I'll make my own electricity. Well, let's look at the planet as a whole. What we did is we built cities where it was convenient for man to live. That isn't where the best places on the planet are to generate solar, hydro, or geothermal, is it? No, because those places are volatile or nobody wants to live in a desert. Well, now you can put this mining facility out in the middle of somewhere in the world where nobody wants to live, and it generates, instead of most power companies, I'm just going to go broadly, generates 10 cents a kilowatt hour for a light bulb. That's what they charge you. Okay. Bitcoin is 60 cents a kilowatt hour in profit and rising. So what's your incentive to go out and find cheaper? It's 50 cents a kilowatt hour.
Wow.
This is a free market system, as you can imagine. This is mind-blowing to small people that have never had the opportunity, yet they live right next to a river, and some Bitcoin mining guy comes into town and says, this river flow like this all year? Yeah. Well, we got a couple $100 million. We'll give you the excess electricity. Now, let me get into excess electricity really quick. When you're a village in Texas and you go into your mining company and you say, okay, I want to buy cheap grid electricity. The power companies are excited about you. Why? Because when you create enough electricity for the city of Dallas, okay, you don't know how much demand or up and down swing of power usage, and you have to try and predict it. Well, we have state legislation that says they have to produce at least 120% of what is needed in case that hot day comes along and everybody doesn't get a brownout. Well, think about this, who gets the 20% extra? Our company sells it to the mining companies. And when the power company says, hey, it's going to be really hot tomorrow, shut them all down. They have that extra 20%, but yet they're making what? 50 cents extra per kilowatt hour or 25 and 25. They're splitting it with a mining company. And that's when you start to understand why Bitcoin isn't bad for the environment. It's very good for the environment. And in fact, it's the only industry that is above 50% in renewable energies. And it's been that way for a while. I don't know why our congressmen have been telling you the exact opposite of that, but I have a couple of good ideas. But it's been thrown in my face a million times over. And I said, well, you just have to do a little bit more research. And they look at me like, well, I've heard it from every YouTuber out there. And I'm like, well, okay, well, learn a little. Just open up and maybe see the possibilities for mankind in power usage. And when you do, it'll blow your mind, because that's the beauty of like El Salvador. They have 23 volcanoes. They have geothermal plants going up all over that country, and they're about to get free power to their citizens and no taxation to their citizen because they're mining Bitcoin. Now, is your neighborhood doing that for you? No, no, they're not. Right? Like, this is really big, guys.
I had no idea about this. That is crazy. That's crazy. And I actually have a family member that was mining.
Right.
By the way, full disclosure, I am in Texas.
Oh, okay. All right. I didn't catch an accent. Yeah.
I don't have an accent at all, but I am in Texas and did grow up here. So I do understand what you're saying. And it's interesting that you say that, because, you know, in my travels in Texas, I have been through Texas and seen where not only are they utilizing the solar energy, but they're also using wind energy as well. So I have seen the wind turbines, and I've seen, you know, they have all these little areas where you have these buildings and there's nothing else around it. There's no homes, there's no nothing. And I'm like, that must be a Bitcoin mining farm.
And you've heard about the flares too, right?
Yeah, and not only the flares, but you also have to realize that in Texas, energy is even more of a big deal because Texas is on its own grid.
That's
it's
right.
not even associated with the United States grid.
That's right.
That's the reason why we had the issues that we had with the freezing, and then also during the summertime, like what you're talking about, when you have temperatures in excess of 100 degrees, you know, during the summer, of course, there's so much solar power that can be harnessed in this area. So I do get it. And I do understand why, one, we have so many Bitcoin miners here, and two, why Texas is digital asset and crypto friendly. So
very, very. Yeah. I want you guys have to hear my favorite Bitcoin mining story ever. There's a gal, and I know the family, and that's what they do is they go around the world building for these small communities in which I was just telling you about. Well, they know a gal, and she did an interview, and they sent me the link to the interview. It was brilliant, but this is a few years ago now. Okay, we all remember what happened in 2020, right? Okay, so there's I've never been there, so I'm just going to say the Congo, right? So in the Congo, there is a national park where virtually all of the gorillas are. Okay, it's a park, it's a national park, it's sponsored by the country, and it's a tourist venue, and everybody goes there, okay, to research and to see the animals. And it's an incredible that they save them. It's just one of the better things that mankind has done for the animal kingdom. Well, 2020 came along, and thankfully they had in 2018 started mining Bitcoin, okay, just outside of this area. Well, you can imagine what happened in 2020. Nobody could travel. Nobody could go see the gorillas.
Yeah, it was during COVID, right?
So literally they attribute the saving of that park because people were getting desperate for money, and they could have done there was no tourist money coming in. There was all this other stuff, and they actually could feed and maintain the park while there was no tourism for 2 whole years because
Wow.
they had this mining facility.
That's
It's
incredible.
you need to hear her tell the story because it's
Amazing.
brilliant. Yeah.
Amazing.
So it's not all bad news for mining, guys. It really isn't. So
Well,
and
and you
then,
know, and you know what you're bringing up. We sometimes seem, when we live here in America, we're kind of focused on everything being the way it is in America, the way that we think of
Mhm.
things in America. And when you expand your thinking and you think about the world and the differences, what these things can mean to these countries and these
Yeah.
little areas, it's incredible. And you're right. I mean, that is being able to save something like that. It, you know, was a tourist attraction area. People went there specifically for that. And it could have completely taken them out, and you know, maybe they would have had to let them go or euthanize them or whatever if they couldn't.
Right.
And the fact that they were able to sustain that through Bitcoin mining is just incredible.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, very good
Funny,
story.
nobody in Congress brings that up, but anyway.
No.
And they won't, because it doesn't fit into the narrative. I mean,
No,
if you
that's
think about it, I mean,
yeah.
you know, at the end of the day, they're trying to scare everybody out
Of course.
They are.
Yeah.
of the
Unfortunately.
space, unfortunately. And they're
So
getting us. Go ahead.
the real thing that it's best at, okay, is that over the 100% that they need to make every day. Where do you store that?
Hmm.
How do you store electricity?
Batteries,
You-
right? I mean, you
you-
can't.
Right. So what they have to
Use
do
it.
is ramp everything up to run at 120%, but they only
Mm.
pull 100 of it out, which wears everything out faster.
Mhm.
Right? Like I'm off grid here pretty much, and I have battery systems. But when my batteries are full on a sunny day at 2:00, where do I put it? Where do I put the electricity? So
Mm.
I know on a firsthand basis, well, my bad. I should have a mining rig running, but I have
I
a
was
lot of
just
iron.
thinking that.
I need it. I need another lifetime to get done everything I want to do. So I'm a
Right.
busy man, but I love my life. So you know, I don't complain.
Trying to be like you when I grow up.
I know,
am.
right? Same.
I'm trying to be like you when I grow up.
You should aim a lot higher than that.
No,
A
I
lot
just,
higher.
you know what? You know why I say that, and I say that very, I say it not flippantly. I really do mean that. I say that because I've been watching your videos for a very long time, Mr. Staple, and I
cool.
have to tell you, you have ownership of your time.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I'm talking
Yeah.
about when I say I'm
Yep.
trying to be like you when I grow up. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I want to
Thank
be
you.
able to say, hey, I want to be able to take my kids and be able to give them experiences. That's what
Nice.
I'm looking for. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? It's not about the money, it's about freedom. And
That's right.
that's really what I'm looking for.
Yeah. Good for you.
Alan's
thank
the
you.
official boat dude.
Yes.
Yes,
sir.
I told when I first started talking to Alan, I said, my friends call you the boat dude. And he's like, oh
That's
no.
right.
And he's like, I don't know, is that good or bad? I was like, oh, it's good. It's a loving term.
It's good.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
The
Yeah.
boat dude.
I've been
Listen,
called a lot worse.
you
Yeah.
sit there with your cup of coffee, and I'm like, okay, all right, Alan, do your thing.
And you know what's so funny, guys, is I watched YouTube channels for I don't know 7-8 years before I started one, and I never once said I could do a better job than that.
No,
I just was
it's
like, I
hard.
was frightened to do this. I was like, are you kidding me? I don't know that I have it. I don't know that I should be doing that. And it wasn't. I don't know if I've ever told this story. The very first video I ever did, okay, I sat down and I filmed it, and it was about 30 minutes long. And I went, oh boy, I don't know. I don't even remember what I said. Okay, I'm gonna have to watch this. I watched it, and I was like, who's that guy? Like I would watch that guy. That guy's pretty good. I myself in the first person of it all. I was just like, that guy's pretty damn good. I would listen to him.
Nothing wrong with tooting that horn. Nothing wrong with that at all.
No, and you know what really matters more than anything else is my absolute, and my son will vouch for this. He's even more so than I am, probably in many ways. Our absolute love for people.
Yes.
I've met people from all over the world. I've been blessed to have traveled the world a lot, and everywhere I've gone, I've met incredible people, and it's just been a blessing. I just want to share it with everybody. I know all that sounds corny, but I really mean it. And it's sort of like now I'm going to talk about the class here. I told Melissa, she goes, "Oh, okay, so we'll do this interview." And I was like, "No, we did that Keda girl on there. That was amazing." I don't know what it ended. I had only heard like a little bits and pieces of the interview, but there was like this energy. And I was like, I want her energy. That energy, like I don't get it for everybody, but like when I get it, I got it. I'm like, it wasn't what you said. It was what I was getting from it. It was really cool. So I'm really impressed.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Seriously.
No,
it's funny. I was talking with a friend of mine, and I had said, you know, we all look for our gifts. We all look for the things that, you know, make us unique and what we can contribute. And I didn't realize this until, late in life. Okay. I'm about to go into the second half of my life, and I didn't find out until 49 years later that my gift is I have a way to be able to make people feel comfortable. And in me being a nurse, I only have a couple of minutes for you to be able to trust me enough for me to care for you.
That's
right?
awesome.
So if I can't do that in the first couple 2-3 minutes, then we're gonna have an issue and a problem.
That's right. Yeah. Because you can't heal if you're all upset.
Right.
Yeah.
And so for me, I try to carry that into everything. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, who wants to have a conversation with somebody that they can't stand to look at, they can't stand to be around?
No, you can't do it. You can't look past it. It's just gets in the way all the time. Yeah.
So it's good stuff. And I kid you not, if I can do half of what you do those videos, I'm telling you, because there's a way for someone to really see the fact that you really enjoy what you're doing. You really enjoy what you're trying to to people. You know what I mean? And it comes across. And we can see that. And so don't ever stop that. You know what I mean?
Thanks. Thank
people
you.
Need that. People need that.
Yeah.
You know
we do.
Well, now you're going to get me all emotional.
Headline will be "Dipito made Allan's cry" on air.
Hey, I've been driving all day, so I'm a little wore out. But I when I feel that from people, the comments in my videos, I don't know if you guys ever read them. They're mind blowing. I watch it. I look at other people's comments and I'm like, oh, okay, that's kind of cool. I look at mine and every one of them is just like, wow, you touched me. You did something. I don't know what it was. And I'm just like, are you kidding me? Like I was just talking to you with a camera in my face. But it's really fun, guys. I highly recommend everybody. Melissa, we're going to blow this channel up. You just wait, girl.
We'll see what happens. I will say it is a pleasure and an honor to have you come on Dipito, and because of your personality and your open heart, you do draw people in, and it's really important, especially now, for those that are out there, those that might stumble upon this show wondering, am I good enough? Am I smart enough? Can I comprehend this? You can. You can. And if you come across, the Staple crew, their show, our show, Dipito, kind of dip your toe into the space and start learning and give yourself some credit that you can learn. And, you know, having a place like Allan's Staple Crew, they have such a nice community of people there that are really
Real good.
supportive with one another. And that's what we need right now, because you know, like I said, you got to do your own research, and it's tough. And I do a lot of researching, and I have my questions. And so that's why I really appreciate you, Allan, because I am genuinely asking about this Bitcoin mining and the concerns over the electricity and all of those things. And just because I ask a question doesn't mean that I'm against Bitcoin in any way. But if you ask the wrong person, they'll attack you, you know.
No,
And
that's right.
and
That's a
I
shame.
I appreciate the different perspective and things that maybe I hadn't thought about before, or it expands on what I'm thinking of it. And what I do know is when it comes to Bitcoin mining, you know, there's there's so much innovation and people thinking outside of the box on how they can use this stranded energy. And, you know, just like how you spoke about the changes in these other countries, it's incredible what's happening. And so one of the things that I hope is that the public in general across the world, that we don't allow the big dogs to take it over. And so you were mentioning earlier about being able to run a node or to validate so that that you could be part of this ecosystem, part of the Bitcoin blockchain. And so can you speak a little bit on that, what that means and how someone can participate, and how it secures the network?
Okay.
Lightly
Now
touching, not too technical.
I'm gonna plug a company here, and you guys should look into it. It's a company called Start9. Okay, they're out of Colorado, and Start9 is they like to call it an embassy. So essentially, it's a hub, right? And they get to be their own cloud. You're not on Apple's cloud. You're not on Google's cloud. You're not on Microsoft cloud. You're on your cloud. And it's a brilliant piece of kit. It's I think for the home size models, like $400 or $500, but essentially it disconnects you from them. Okay. But you can surf and do whatever you want to do, but they don't have a way in or a way out from you. Okay. Let's start there. I don't recommend anybody running a node if you're not going to have something like that, because then you're running a node, which is cool. Trust me, we did as many people running nodes as possible. But the beauty of that is they can't shut us down. It's almost like if I was running a node here and I'm off grid and the grid goes down, like Bitcoin. I don't know if you guys know this, Bitcoin will never go down, right? It's in space for number one. I mean, it's what do you call it? Satellites. But also because of places like mine, all you need is one laptop and you can regenerate the entire chain again, right? That's all you need. I don't know if you guys know that. So you don't need 1,000 laptops to survive the
apocalypse or whatever.
Yeah. Everybody's all EMPs and all the rest of those things they're worried about. It's not likely, but anyway, I suppose it could happen. But there's people like what I was just talking about. If you're running that Start9, they can't shut us down. They won't be able to shut that down. So that's how I would do it. The reasons for doing it are no different than staking, in the sense that when you stake a coin, let's say you have like Cardano in particular, it's not so much with XRP, but let's say Cardano, you strengthen the network. Okay. So the more people that stake it keeps the network strong and relevant, right? So they can't just take it down, right? So the worst thing that can happen to a coin is it downsizing and scaling down. socially, the amount of people that run the nodes, the amount of people that are staking. If people quit staking Cardano, it would go to zero.
Yeah.
We are the network. We are the structure. We are the reason of that coin's success. And they will all tell you that because it's just source code. And the rest of us are the energy behind it all. I don't know if I answered your question exactly, but that's what I got for that.
So for those of you listening on X, I did post the link to the Start 9, excuse me, Start 9 underneath our video. So what is the difference then between being a Bitcoin miner and a node validator? So do node validators make money, or do they just secure?
How many hours have you got? How many hours do you have here? Okay. No. Yes. Okay. Should I say? I'm going to just break this down into simple logic here for us. If you're mining Bitcoin, you're part of the mining of every 10 minutes, there's a block. At the end of the 10 minutes, you get a percentage of whatever you mined. Okay. If you are rewarded, okay, they're crushing numerical equations. Yeah. And whoever gets the equation right gets a percentage of that every 10 minutes. So now it's what, 3 1/8, right? So it's not that much, right? So they split it if there's a bunch of people that all get it. Yeah. The beauty is the harder the harder mining gets, okay, the hash rate will go up and down. That was one of the beautiful things that was written into the code in the beginning. Like if nobody starts mining, like you were saying, only the big governments are going to, and everybody's going to quit doing it. Yeah. The hash rate will go down, making the equations easier and easier to solve to strengthen the network back up again. All of that is done by code, right? So now let's say you're just a validator and you're like, well, I want to do my part to strengthen the system. Well, currently you're not so much rewarded, although you are partially, but you're getting rewarded essentially from the transaction fees. You get a percentage of those transaction fees. But as the mining diminishes over time, everyone says, well, what happens when they mine the last Bitcoin? All the transaction fees will go to the people who are running the nodes. And that ratio will change to keep the strength of this system. Let's remember, there's no president, there's no board of directors. If you want to sue somebody in Bitcoin, you can't. There's nobody to bring to court. It's just code. It's just us.
It's just code and math, right? And circumstance, like with if this then that type thing. And so what you're telling me is it's a living thing that as circumstances change, the code accommodates for that. It adjusts for that automatically. And so as we transition out of generating actual Bitcoins, it will transition into more the validation
of the transactions.
And those are actually doesn't cost as much. Those could be spread all over for very decentralized, because there's probably a lot more of those around than there is the miners, I would suspect, right? And so that would, if you were using, the only thing I wonder about as far as the transactions and the validator nodes, if Bitcoin ends up becoming mostly a store of value, where you have these big, institutions purchasing them for the ETFs and that sort of thing. And I kind of think it's going to be part of the money supply, like I don't know if I want to say it's the MO, like the MOM1, 2 money supply. I feel like it's going to be part of that foundational layer of the money for.
I don't.
Yeah, you don't really. Yeah, I don't.
Do you see it more being more along the lines of derivatives? Because wouldn't the
No.
because it's has because of the amount of satoshis that are in the Bitcoin.
Yeah. Yeah, I did. You know how it is. We all learn, and the more we learn, the more your view changes over time.
Mm-hmm.
And thankfully, like you two, we're discerning, and I discern new information all the time. So I used to think that way. I did. I'm starting to really understand how significant it is. Okay, my guess, if you will, prediction about 2 years ago was this bull run, this next one, which is kind of where we're at now. I thought this would be corporate adoption. Well, that's kind of happening. Okay.
Yeah.
And I thought the following one would be nation states. But what I didn't realize is nation states beat the corporates.
Yes.
Russia just, I don't know, Russia spent $1 billion for a mining facility.
Yes.
Okay. So what that tells me, now let's go really big picture here now. It's more important than money. And I know that sounds crazy to most people, but I think it has a lot to do with its sovereign state. And there's a brilliant book written by a young man who's like a lieutenant in the Star Space program.
Jason
Lowry. Jason Lowry wrote Soft Wars is the name of the book. It's brilliant because he took it from a monetary thing to a physical defense system. And because of how incredible it is, it's not likely to be hacked, in particular now. And I'll talk about the node thing that you just kind of brought up, a part of it. It's not about the monetary reward for running a node. It's the fact that you own Bitcoin and you don't want the system to go down. So why wouldn't you run it on your laptop in the background? Because we know that if there's hundreds of thousands of nodes running on hundreds of thousands of different computers, it can't be corrupted.
Yeah.
So
I'm gonna interject because Simon is here and he's got about 10 minutes. So I'm gonna bring him in. I just didn't want to disrupt you. Hold on one second.
Yeah.
There he is.
Hey, Simon.
Simon. Hey, brother.
Sound is. Hey, there we go. Hey, yeah, you guys are kind of cutting in and out on my end. It's probably I'm in the black hole of Washington.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, you're cutting out, darn it. Uh-oh.
Now
Am I? Dang.
There you are. There you are.
Hold on.
Nice hat. What do you work for a living? I got to talk to Simon earlier today. I don't know why we can't get him.
Yeah, I can't hear him now, but we can see.
No.
There he is. I don't know. Can't hear him.
Simon, man. He's a man just until he comes back on.
Yeah, try that. How about that? Is that better?
That's good right there.
Yeah.
Okay. It's a Bluetooth thing.
Okay.
All right. I know I got reception in the car. So how is everybody?
Very well. Hopefully you are as well.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking.
Yes,
Bitcoin
doing very well. Excited. Oh, Bitcoin mining?
Yeah.
Are you? I mean, like, really? Just before Vegas? Is this a good topic?
I know. Trust me, I have a little stuff I want to talk about. Yeah.
Well, the Bitcoin mining thing, I like that proof of work. I mean, I'm a worker bee like most of us, so proof's in the pudding, so to speak.
Yeah.
What part of mining are you guys talking about? Like just the basics, or are you kind of going mining / validator / 51% attack?
Unloaded on Allan with questions like I always do.
Again, before Vegas, you can't do that. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, it's basic stuff. I mean, if you're a Bitcoin guy, you probably know most of this stuff. but I don't know. Sometimes it's hard to tell what people know, But mining, validator nodes, and electricity use. Yeah.
He was just starting to talk about Jason Lowry and soft war.
Oh, well, by all means, continue.
No, I don't. I just was trying to. The question was, do I think it's going to be a derivative, Bitcoin a derivative, or in the monetary system going forward? And I used to think that way. Now I really believe that it's going to be more of a sovereign nation state security item, like bigger than money one day. In some ways,
I would agree with that last part right there, given the information you shared with me earlier about Switzerland.
Oh, I hadn't even brought that up in the show yet.
Oh, well, do share.
Yeah. Switzerland has been working on a memorandum, and they need 100,000 signatures. They just got it. They just sent it to their parliament, whatever. And they want Bitcoin to be their central banking currency.
Wow.
One of them. Very big. Yeah. So that kind of stuff. That's one of like 4 things I have written down that are huge, guys.
Wow.
Yeah. So and let's remember, Switzerland already recognizes Tether as a currency.
Okay, so how's that? Okay, so how's that gonna go? Because Tether is in a whole lot of trouble right now. I'm just saying.
Well,
only
it just depends on who you're in trouble with. If you're in trouble with this person over here, you go play with that person over there.
Yeah.
That's right. With international law, if a country does trade with another country, and whatever the negotiating instrument is, in this case, let's use the example of Tether. If Mexico does business with Switzerland and the means of exchange is Tether, well, yeah, by international law, it is dubbed a currency. Now, the acceptance of that globally is a whole different thing. But once it's done, and then you move on to the higher courts to go through that battle and bring it under contract under a global organization, say like the World Trade Organization or something like that, where they all recognize that as an acceptable means of exchange. So that's when Allan told me that today, I was like, well, that's huge. Whether you like Bitcoin or not, it wouldn't be a bad thing to hold now, because a central bank that is really good at a few things. One of them that I really, really like, they have this printer. Have you guys heard of this thing? It's a printer, and it just prints out whatever denomination you want. It's so cool. They put little ribbons in the things. It's beautiful. I love the artwork.
It's got all kinds of ink.
Brilliant.
Paper and
I know that I like the different stocks that they use of paper. That's really cool.
Right.
You can kind of tell which country you were in last week that you kind of don't remember, maybe, if you're that type of individual. And
the magical way that if you just add a 0, it's worth like 10 times as much.
What?
I know.
That's the front door. Oh my goodness.
I need a printer like that.
Remind you of a place that you know?
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, it does. It does remind me of a place, but I'm under non-disclosure by threat of jailment. No, I'm just kidding. I'm totally kidding. I'm totally kidding, everybody.
So I mean, you're looking forward to Vegas?
I am, man. My head's there. My head's here at work. I have a few things to button up over the weekend, man. I'm a juggling tornado of greatness that's going on right now. I'm loving it, man. It's what I really like about this space on all the event side. About March, it starts to get, the burner starts to get on and warm a little bit. By about April till about September, it's nothing but events, meetups, and those types of things where all of us can go participate in, and we can get reconnected with each other or other people that we meet at these events. And I'll tell you what, from something I tell my clients is that if you meet somebody that's in crypto, foster that relationship. It might be just, it's either for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. But if you can get it for the season or the lifetime, if you have some questions and you really don't know who to turn to, or you can't get somebody, on the line that fast enough, now you have a nice list of people that you could cautiously approach and say, hey, have you heard about this? Hey, I'm having this issue. Hey, are you into this? Do you happen to know somebody? Right? You can kind of do that as opposed to trying to, come to a YouTube channel, pop in your question as the comments go a million miles an hour up the screen. So I really love this season, and I'm so excited to go be a part of the XRP event there in Vegas, man. It's going to be live. It's going to be nothing but handshakes and hugs. And you also really have to be a healthy individual. I mean, healthy in the sense of you're going to do a lot of hugs and you're going to do a lot of handshaking.
That's it.
Yeah, it's good things.
Kissing babies.
Yeah.
No,
all of it.
That does not work in the city of sin, man. I'm not going there, man. No. I'll high five babies. Way to go.
Yeah, that's right. And by the way, there's going to be a camera in your face a lot this trip, so get used to that.
Oh, I got one right here. Right here.
I know, but I'm except for, inside our quarters, we won't be doing any of that, obviously. But we're going to be doing a lot.
Are we about to do a, what's that?
Simon, you're an amazing thinker and even better friend.
Oh, B-Man, thank you, B-Man. Brent, I love you, brother. Me and him are sharing a room, so I doubt I'm gonna get any sleep, man. It's gonna be nonstop conversation. In fact, I don't even know if half of us will make it to our rooms after Thursday night. We just, hey, sun's up. Hey, I gotta take a shower. Let's grab a bite in 20 minutes. Whoop, come back up. Go to the meeting.
Yeah, I have an interview in 10 minutes. Maybe I should get some sleep.
Yeah. It'll be
so much fun,
action.
guys. I'm so excited.
Money Paradise says in Vegas it's shaking babies and kissing hands.
Okay, all right.
Nobody better shake a baby around me, or they gonna get.
You.
Yeah, that's yeah, that's one of those. In something like that, if that actually ever happened, you'll notice a few guys look around first to go, where's the woman? There should be a mama bear coming to swing on this lady if it happens to be a female, and vice versa.
Right.
Like, yo, hey man, I could do a year, but I don't see anybody running for it. Okay, I'm going in. Going
in. Well, first of all, Money Paradise is Cody, and I know who he is, and his little darling daughter I've met personally, and she's the cutest. Her name's Harley, and she's the cutest little thing you've ever seen. So he would never shake.
He's got a great channel he started too. Started
following
him, and I'm really digging it. Really digging Money Paradise. So shout out. Oh, one thing. Do you have anything you want to add, Simon? Because I know you're short on time. Is there anything that you want to bring up?
You know what? No, not really. Actually, I do. Actually, I do. Real quick. Everybody go tradingview.com. Go look at the H-bar chart. I want you to look at this because this is a buy the rumor, sell the news, pump and dump. Just go look at a chart. You'll know what I'm talking about. These things happen in the bull market. Don't FOMO. Peace and chicken grease, everybody. I love you all here, and I love you all out there in the YouTubes, the Rumbles, and etc. But I gotta go. I'm gonna get in big trouble.
Thank
love
you.
Harry.
Love you.
Have a good day.
Thanks for coming.
All right, y'all take care.
Talk to you later.
Yep. Okay.
All right.
He so good to see Simon. He always cheers me up. Not that I'm ever down, but like he cheers me up. He really does. Yeah. Such a good dude.
Same.
I have some huge news items. Can I talk about a couple of these?
Absolutely.
Please.
The floor is yours.
Okay. I don't know how many people heard about this, but did anyone hear what happened in India over the last 2 or 3 days?
I heard there was something big in India. Was it more along the lines of regulations that
Yes,
they
exactly.
implemented? Okay, I thought so, but I'm not
Okay.
really sure on what the regulation is.
What they did, you know how India's been in crypto, out of crypto, in crypto, and out of crypto? Okay, well, now they're in. They're in. Okay. They're, how do I say this without just saying it? If you don't bribe the officials in India, you don't get anywhere. That's how India works.
Gotcha.
Like it always has, right? That's
Yeah.
how it works. So somebody ponied up, and they ponied up big. And this is about a year ago. And it's a little man by the name of CZ did it.
Oh.
Yeah. And what he did was he got in so much trouble in the US. He said, look, I'm going after these guys. Why? Because they have 1.5 billion people.
Yeah. Right.
They also, let's think about this, guys. Their average age is 28 years old.
Wow.
Just the age of a person that's into digital assets and cryptocurrencies.
They're also the highest population. I didn't believe this until I heard it, and I was like, I'm looking that up. They have the highest percentage of people with a cell phone.
Wow.
Like their internet is virtually free on a cell phone. I was like, what? Okay, this is perfect. So Binance got all trading rights for anything you want to buy in crypto, just signed. You can go directly, not yet. I don't think it opens till next week. I'm not sure yet. I can't get any dates on it, but it's been signed. Yes, you gave us the money. It's open to Binance to open India to cryptocurrency.
Wow.
How come I have a feeling that this is going to be May 6th, that this is going to go live?
Yep.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I'm literally saying because there's a lot of things that has to happen by May 6th.
That's
amazing. The Ripple case.
That's right.
They have to have that information into the judge by May 6th.
Wow. That's huge. I want to put this into perspective, guys. If you have 1.5 billion and you simply do the math, that means that if only 5% of the people in India open a trading account with Binance, only 5%, that over doubles the amount of people currently in crypto.
Wow. Good
That's
point.
5%.
Thinking outside of the box, thinking that, that is a big deal, what you just said.
You just said that was just 5%.
Yep. Just 5% of the population.
Billion. Wow.
That's how many people they have. And we know that the average age is 28. They all got cell phones. India buys a lot of gold. We do know that. And they buy real estate. But what's their third investment? It's going to be crypto. I really believe it. Yeah.
Where are they in terms of their regulation and stuff? Do we know? Are they like some of these other countries where they're much farther down the road in terms of, what's acceptable, the structures in place already? I mean, for them to sign this deal with CZ and Binance and them to, okay, this is going to be our go-to platform where people are going to be able to on-ramp into crypto, if I'm understanding correctly. They're going to, obviously they've got the green light. So, gosh, that's
huge.
That's huge.
I had an incredible phone call with a man that Melissa and I know. I'm just going to say his name, Bitcoin Ben. And he and I were talking last week, like I was telling you, Melissa. And he was the one telling me some of this stuff. And I was like, well, kind of take it with a grain of salt. I'm going to look that up. And boom, there it was. And I found like 2 or 3 things. I shared something with him that I know is kind of not everybody knew. Okay. This is what I shared with him. this is my next big news item that is huge, guys. As you guys know, I used to
Breaking
be
it on Dip-a-Toe, just saying.
dropping them hot while they're hot.
Drop that toe.
Like and subscribe, please. I love this channel. This is big news, guys. I can't even tell you how big this is because it's bigger than I even like. Every time I think about it, it's bigger than I thought. So Hugh and I were talking, and I said, well, I've got some inside baseball for you. I know a pretty good brokerage account company, and he gave me a little tidbit about what's going on in not just Hong Kong, China as well. Okay. Now we know they're coming up with the ETF. By the way, that ETF goes live Tuesday. That might be big.
Really? That might be a big, maybe.
And let's remember, it's not just Bitcoin, it's Bitcoin and Ethereum, both. And in my opinion, soon to be XRP would be my guess. That I'm guessing that'd be the third coin they do.
Yep.
Why are they doing Bitcoin and Ethereum? Because they feel like they got behind the US. So now they're going to get ahead of the US because nobody thinks the US is going to be able to get Ethereum passed through for an ETF in time. So now they're playing leapfrog, guys.
Yep.
You see where this is going? These countries are competing with each other for global money in these ETFs. Now, what I really wanted to talk about, the Forex market is massive. I don't know if you guys know, but it's literally quadrillions of dollars annually traded. It's such a massive market, right? When I was trading it, I believe it was $3 trillion a day, something like that market. This is a massive market. The information I got was, and I looked it up, and he was absolutely correct, and I don't even know how, like, I missed it. China and Hong Kong in particular, because most of the trading goes through Hong Kong, is down over 20% daily in the since they announced the ETF trading going live in Hong Kong. So a massive multi-trillion-dollar Forex market, people are getting out of it. And they're going to trade in different markets. What are they tired of trading? They're tired of trading this manipulated Forex currency. And they're going to go into crypto. Now, let me tell you where my head has gone since that moment. This is really, really big, guys. Think about this in this way. What you and I know, in particular being XRP people, right? You take $1, it goes into XRP, and then it comes out a Russian ruble or a British pound at the other end. It takes that long. 3 seconds, 5 seconds, right? So we no longer need to have the discrepancy or the exchange rate of these currencies from shore to shore. You see where I'm going with this? Yeah. They understand. They're going, wait a minute. We don't need a foreign exchange market anymore. Why? Because the currencies won't be trading against each other. They'll be level with each other because it's seconds. So the volatility of XRP is not going to be an issue because it's only 3 seconds live.
Yeah. What do they call that? No counterparty risk, right? That's right. Yeah.
And that's huge. And that, like that market right there, just those two things alone. And then with the Swiss deal, that's huge as well. There's 2 other things I got written down here, but these are, okay. I sent you a text last night, and I want everybody to kind of get this concept as well. Okay, when you and I hear about, I don't know, a coin goes up, like he was talking about Hedera Hashgraph. That's true information. As far as I could tell, that was accurate. A brokerage is going to use Hedera Hashgraph. Okay. That's different than you and I buying a bunch of XRP coins. That's what's called the bottom up. You and I buying a bunch of, oh, hey, this meme coin, all meme coin sales are bottom up sales. Everything I just explained to you guys here is top down. All of it. You're talking about China, you're talking about Hong Kong, you're talking about Swiss banking, you're talking about German bankers, you're talking about all of this is top adoption down, which is what you and I have been waiting for.
Yeah.
Truly. A total adoption by the system. But yet they're telling all the people in the public and Congress,
Yeah.
well, you know what they're telling them.
Yeah.
They're telling them, oh,
Well,
stay away.
And the thing is that, you know, if it's top down now, you can imagine the wheels have been in motion for quite some time to get to this level of top down at this moment. Yeah. And all the while they make us, they are trying to distract us with all these other things and make you think that this is all bad and, you know, deter you basically from getting in, because retail can be messy, right? I mean, we kind of mess things up for them a little bit. And so those of us that we call ourselves the chosen ones, we are, because we've been wading through the crap with our waders on, you know, with the clothespin on our nose, making eye contact with each other like, I see you.
Yeah. Becky brings up a great question here in the chat. Let me nail this for her. Okay. Here's what's going on, guys, and I'm going to paint it from the globalist down on this one.
Can I read the question real quick for people?
Yes, please do.
It says, Becky says, Allan, do you think that India will have a problem with CZ's trouble with the United States legal system? Is that going to be a problem in India? That's a good question.
It's a great question. Okay, let's talk about this. This is big. This whole changing of the monetary systems is a big deal. And as you guys know, I have work experience with both sides of the coin. And what I mean is the families at the top. I worked for one set of globalists, and then the following boat that I worked for was the exact opposite elite family globalist family team on the other side, and they opposed each other. That's the only way I even know about all this stuff. And that was 20 some odd years ago. Okay. Some families want to lynch the guy. Some other families think he's the greatest thing there is. So you have to understand jurisdictions and who's in charge and who's in control and who's running the system as we speak and in what country. So again, it's a moving ball. You never know who's going to be the next guy to be head on the chopping block. So to answer her question, I don't know. I'm not obviously privileged to that kind of information. However, I speculate that the man paid his $4 billion fine to the U.S. government. And that's not enough. Like, wait a minute, what? I paid my $4 billion and now you said I could go. And then, oh, wait, now all of a sudden you want to lynch me for, I don't know, 3 years. I think they're trying to throw him behind bars.
Yeah, and it's not even just that. I think he also can he not even, I don't think he can even be involved.
No, well, only for, I want to say 2 years, 4 years.
I think it's 2 years. I thought it was 2 years. I thought it was 2.
Yeah. So here's the thing. Is he going to come back to face the music, or are the people that are in favor of what he's doing going to have a word with the judge? I don't know. You know, no. That's ridiculous. The man paid his money. Let him go. Right. Yeah. So I don't know.
Crypto professor thinks U.S. kicks CZ out so Coinbase can run things here.
I don't even think it's Coinbase. I think the government wants to run it. I think the government wants control over that particular exchange. Yeah. Because there's only going to be a few exchanges that are going to be viable and be able to be used. That's why they're getting rid of the rest of them. So, I mean, I think that's probably what it is. And they couldn't have all of that money being controlled outside of the country. So I think it's more of that than anything else.
I totally agree, Kate. I couldn't agree more. I think that's exactly what's going on. But let's remember, what's his name, who runs it?
You talking about
He,
CZ?
who? No, Coinbase.
Oh,
Oh,
Brian.
Coinbase. Oh,
Brian something.
Brian
Yeah,
Armstrong.
right.
Is it Brian
Armstrong.
Armstrong?
Right. So let's remember, right before, I just want to remind everybody of the timing of this, right before Sam Bankman fraud got nailed.
Sam Bankman fraud.
Right? Yeah, before he got nailed, Coinbase was in big trouble. And Coinbase was like, "Oh, well, no, don't do anything bad to me. I'll pay. I'll do whatever it takes." So they kind of bowed down, and then they went public. I don't know if you guys remember that. So then they had their IPO, and everyone's like, "Oh, he's in on it." But before that, he was saying, "Oh, we need regulation. We need regulation. We got to get this thing squared away because without regulation, we don't have anything." Now, I talk a lot on my show about what regulation means.
Control.
It's when a politician uses the word regulation, translation of that word is manipulation.
And control.
To them. Yeah. And it's a way for them, I like to say, put their finger on the scale. That's how they get to, like, oh, well, where's my cut? Wait a minute. We're going to allow you to do business in our country, but where's our scratch? What do we get out of this deal?
That's the same thing that the SEC did to Ripple. I mean, at the end of the day, for them to even take them to court and then get their tails spanked, and then the first thing you want to do is ask for $1.9 billion from a company?
That's what Gary Gensler told all of his MIT students to expect.
And
That's
made
right.
it out. Made it out.
Yes.
Videos on YouTube.
It's a pay to play. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. How's that working out so far? I don't think they're going to end up paying anywhere near that, but we'll see what ends up happening. But I mean, I sometimes don't you guys think that they're putting this out in front of us, like trying to be so ridiculous to get people to really see what's happening here, because that is the most ridiculous amount of money to ask for this. I think it's ridiculous. So
I think it's, what I think it is? I think it's just as bad. I think it is the crypto version of how bad Sharknado was. It was so bad it was good. So I mean, so at the end of the day.
Yeah. No, it's so true. Yeah.
So at the end of the day, it's so bad, and not for nothing. I mean, people get mad at Gary Gensler, but I tell them, thank you, honey. I appreciate you.
Yeah.
You just made it. You just let me get XRP at a discount. Appreciate you. Thank you.
Exactly.
Well, I can't wait to get Elizabeth's take on this whole thing, because she and I are probably going to do something maybe tomorrow night. But we're just our Patreon group, but we're really, I don't know. There's something really fishy going on with that. $2 billion. Well, let's remember, CZ had to pay $4 billion. You know what his crime was? No KYC. That's what they got.
Right. Yeah.
Like, you got to be kidding me, man. $4 billion? Like,
yeah.
Well, show me the damages.
Yeah.
There wasn't any. It's crazy. Yeah.
It was just too much for it. They just had too much control. I think they just had too much control over fiat that could really affect the US economy, I feel like. And because of that, and because of the US not being able to control that, I feel like that's really the reason why they went after them. You know what I mean? Because they basically would have the US by the balls at that point.
More than likely. Yeah. Makes sense.
You know what really impresses me about this space is that more now than ever, there are so many people that are learning about and paying and giving attention to the way that these things are done, how this operation runs. They're learning about it. They're questioning it. they're schooling people on it like I've never seen before.
Yeah.
And that is how change happens, because now there are more and more people that are awake, that are pushing back. You have people like John Deaton that's running, you know, for Senate, and you know, going up against Elizabeth Warren, who has been in that seat and pretending that she's protecting us and all this BS. And finally, there's enough public that are starting to really push back and have open eyes, that I really do believe that we can invoke change. We can make a difference in the things that, you know, having this show, your show, Allan, Keda, the things that you do to spread information and adoption. That makes us all stronger, and it makes them do their job. And if they aren't going to do their job, they need to get the hell out. So I don't even know that the rest of the public that isn't giving any of this any attention, I don't even know if they'll realize what an impact this small minority of people are actually going to make in the world, in the entire world.
No, I don't think they
so
do. No.
I don't think they have any idea, but boy, what an incredible journey, and how exciting to be awake for it all. It's incredible. And we have 70 people watching, and we want to say thank you so much for joining us on Dip a Toe. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to go off on that.
No, I want to add.
Go right ahead.
I want to add to that, because this is a really valid point too. We always forget, like, we think that because we live in the US, we think they rule the world. Let's remember that all these other countries are free to do whatever they want to do with crypto. They're not asking for our permission. So I don't really care what Congress does, to be honest.
I don't need it.
Because eventually the adoption of the rest of the world will be what the people want.
Exactly.
That's what I think.
Yeah.
What
were you going to say, Keda?
I was actually just thinking about, you know, us being in the space, you know what I mean? And, you know, one of the things, and I don't know if I think we had talked about this a little bit earlier on in the week. You know, we don't realize the small amount of people that are in this space, you know. Just for myself, I actually took account, and I said, you know what? Dang, I can't even, I'm really thinking about how many XRP wallets I have, just myself, because you don't think about every single place you may have purchased it, right?
Yeah.
Because there's all the exchanges. Then you don't realize whether or not you have more than one account on said exchange or on said ledger. All of those are addresses, wallets, right?
Yep.
You literally could look around and you could possibly have 20. Easy.
Oh yeah.
And if you think about the number of wallets that are out there, how many of them are actually active? You know what I mean? You may have started someplace like a MetaMask or Trust Wallet, or you may have gotten a ledger and don't use it anymore, but you still have the actual wallet. It still has the 10 XRP reserve. You know what I mean? And you're not even thinking about it from that vantage point. So that means that the number is even lower than what they're saying it is.
Yeah. No, it's true. Yeah. Who knows? I mean, we don't know.
No.
For some reason, we know the reason. Our country has not adopted crypto, and it has not allowed it to flourish, let alone supported it in any manner at all. And it's sad, really. It's such an incredible technology for the people, and it really digs into the pockets of the bankers, and we know why they haven't. I mean, it's obvious.
Yeah. They're old, and they want to be in the same old system because it works for them.
Right.
Yeah.
It works for them. It doesn't work for us.
No.
They don't want it to work for us.
Yeah.
Sad. It really is. It's not the country that you grow up as a kid thinking you live in, you know. It's sad when the reality of it, you know.
And not
Yeah.
for nothing. And now that, the actual proverbial, wool has been pulled from the eyes. You know what I mean? Because there's a lot more people that are
Yeah.
out here that are learning more and more every day. You know what I mean? And in some
Yeah.
instances, it's kind of scary to be able to learn all the things that you're learning now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
those things that were in your face, but you didn't know really what it was.
Right.
I mean, because they
Yeah.
have it in plain sight. The easiest way to hide something is put it right in your face,
Yep.
you know.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I mean, and the thing is, there's so many people that can't even see
Nope.
what's in front of them.
No,
They
it's
don't want to.
true.
They don't want to see it either. I mean, they
That
just,
part, I agree with that.
guys.
I want to address this quick because I just read it and Becky's got a great point about Uphold.
Yeah,
Why
I
aren't
was.
they
That's what I was gonna bring up because she's been
Oh,
blowing
okay.
it up and she's making great points. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I have an angle on it.
yeah, her first question or comment was she loves Uphold, and don't you find it curious that they're seemingly been able to fly under the legal radar, and she finds that very puzzling. And I mean I agree. What do you think about that, Allan?
I totally get the curiosity angle of it. One of the things, let me paint another dark big picture. Let's remember who the City of London is.
Mm.
Yeah. So they operate out of London. So maybe they got a hall pass. I don't know. Maybe they just haven't gotten around to them yet. I know there's different laws in the UK as far as all that is considered. So to say it's the same as Coinbase, I wouldn't. Different countries, different laws, different regulations. But let's try to remember, if you want to really know who runs the banking world, start with the City of London. And literally nobody in banking does anything without their permission, is what I've always been told day one. And I have not only just heard it, I've read it.
Well, yeah, you
Numerous-
gotta go. You have to go to the House of Commons. It goes through the whole. It goes through the whole shebang. They have to, go
Yeah,
through the House of Lords, go through the House of Commons, then go
that's
through
it.
through the King in order for it to be signed into existence. So I totally get where
Exactly.
you're coming from with that. And you're right.
I
But
don't
at
want
the
to
end
get,
of the day, Uphold is a broker, if I'm not, and they
Oh,
are a
but
broker.
one thing I've noticed about Uphold, because Simon and I talked about this before, Uphold is much like Ripple in the fact that they've built their
Mhm.
company up in regards like with regulation. They did it with foresight. They did it according like heading it off at the pass type of thing, right?
Are they partners?
They built their company to be in line with it, so that as far as I could tell, are they partners
yeah,
of? It sure seems like it.
It seems like it to me. I'm not saying
Yeah.
that they are or they aren't. I'm just saying it seems as though they very well might
I think
be.
they have some crossover
Yeah,
partnerships
I think
too,
so.
yeah.
from
I,
what I've seen.
it seems that way.
It
Yeah.
does. I
I
just
can't.
think really we say out of some of these places that you can buy, they were one of the only ones that you could actually still buy XRP when all of
Yes.
these other
That's right.
ones that delisted it. They actually had balls and kept it on their platform. They are creating products that are helpful to the little guy, as far as I can tell. And so
Copper
from the
and
and we're going to do a show on that too. And so they are a company that I have confidence in. I personally like
I agree.
them. I know some people have different opinions, but I think Uphold is a great company from what I can see
Me
from
too.
an outsider. So that's just my That's my opinion. I would recommend anybody to dig a little
Start
deeper and
off
look
there.
up. Yeah, man.
I like the fact that when you actually purchase on Uphold, that it's held in cold storage. On
That's a
Uphold.
great point. Yeah. Right.
I mean, so that means that it's secure. And that's why you really don't hear too many things about people getting hacked on.
Right.
You really
Yeah.
don't. You may
Yeah.
hear about something go in there that somebody that hacked some other place went there, but you
Yeah.
won't necessarily hear that somebody
Right.
got hacked on Uphold.
Yeah.
Point.
When you get into this business, and you understand how the game is played, the Series 7 exam that every broker has to take, about a third of the test is, yes, I promise to do this and I promise to do that. It's all laws and regs and rules, and all of it, you're signing your life to these people. Okay. So when a brokerage tries to become legal in a country or something, like, for instance, okay, I love these people, but I'm going to put them in the same boat. Caleb and Brown. Caleb and Brown is an incredible company. They're a white glove service. They're fun,
Yes.
whatever you want.
Yes,
They're
absolutely.
fantastic. But I did some research, and when you look into them, it's like they jump through every single hoop they had to jump through to be legal beagles and to make sure that they crossed all their T's. But the other thing I learned was they went to Lloyd's of London to insure all their coins.
Yep.
Well, you can call it bending a knee or whatever gracefully you would like to put it. They did it because they cared about customer service.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I mean, there's nothing higher than Lords of London, right? I mean, that's like the standard, like the high bar or whatever you want to call it. Gold standard. Gold standard, I guess, is what I was saying.
Yeah.
I have to agree with you about Caleb and Brown. I have not had any issues whatsoever with Caleb and Brown. And
they're awesome.
It's nice to be able to have your own personal broker that you can actually speak to.
Yeah.
And, it's
so
really about, it's big, it's huge. And, they are so hands-on, you know what I mean? Like, I literally can just send an email and get back a response within 5 minutes, and it doesn't matter what time you send it.
No, it doesn't. It's so nice. That was one of the questions you were going to ask me, Melissa.
I know. I wanted to say, like, are you comfortable? Because now we're like 10 minutes to 9, and I would love for you to talk about it. Do you have time to chat about that for a few minutes?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
I'm 3 hours behind you guys. Okay. So everybody says, okay, well, Caleb and Brown's too expensive. It's 5%, or unless you get a link, it's like 3.5%, 3.5%, depending on the link.
Or you're saying for
commission.
Liquidate? Oh, commission. Okay. Yes. Correct.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, that's accurate. Those are accurate numbers. I want you to know that most people don't understand this, and Simon could help with this too. But after trading for as long as I have, the one thing you know is it doesn't matter what Robinhood tells you they are charging you. You're paying 3.5%, period. That's why when you look at Coinbase and whatever, Kraken and all the rest of them, they're at different numbers.
Yeah.
They're not all the identical number because there's that 3.5 built in. So like if you say, oh, that's too expensive, I'm not going to Caleb and Brown. It's like, well, you're paying it. Just trust me, you are paying it. And there's a million different ways. And that was the other thing. I never forget when everybody was down on CZ. Well, he commingled funds. They all do. Are you kidding me? That's the name of the game. They can't make money if they don't commingle all their money into a pool and go, oh, here's the hot ticket. We're going to invest in that. They all do it. To a T, every broker I ask that question to laughs at me. Like, of course. Like the only people that get in trouble for this is now you got me wound up. You know, who was the guy? Bernie Madoff.
Oh, Bernie Madoff.
Goldman Sachs was his broker for every single trade the man ever made. Okay. You know what KYC is, right?
Yeah.
So
No,
you're supposed to know what he's doing with those funds, and you're as responsible as a boat captain is, even though you're in your bunk and you hit the reef. Okay, it's still on the captain. That's what KYC is. You're responsible for those people that are under your umbrella of your brokerage of every trade they do. You're held liable. They never were. So what good is KYC? If that Goldman Sachs gets away with that, what good is the KYC? It's not worth the paper the guarantee's written on.
Interesting.
Right? That's it. Why did he have to pay $4 billion for KYC? Come on. That's just no brokerage has ever had their feet held to the fire from a bad broker doing bad. They always throw the broker under the bus. Always. And as a captain, I'm the first guy to go down. That's Elizabeth. She's an attorney. She's the first one to go down. When her client gets in trouble, it's her butt. It's no different than somebody doing your taxes. They're responsible for what they signed. They're completing your taxes. And yet that never gets held accountable to anybody in our government in that way. And it's really kind of a shame, especially in banking, because 2008 was, as we all know, nobody went to jail, really. We couldn't find anybody.
So Allan, I have a question. When it comes to Caleb and Brown, and you're talking about the commission or the 5% or the 3.5%, can you explain? So if somebody were to transfer some of their coins, first of all, can they transfer coins, or does it have to be cash?
Yes.
And that's what I heard too.
You can absolutely.
And are they charged 5% commission for their coins just sitting there in their cold storage, or is it only when they sell them or move them?
Only when they make a transaction, that's when
right.
that fee comes in. It's not when you
in and out.
You don't have to. And the beauty is the actual amount that you were supposed to have to actually put in was supposed to be commensurate to $2,000. They have actually changed that now to only $500. So when you don't necessarily have to do it with fiat. You can do it with digital assets and just transfer.
Keda knows what's going on.
Yeah, I love it. No, and you said that they'll having him held at Caleb and Brown as good as it being in cold storage. Then, I mean,
in my opinion, it's better.
Yeah,
I know that sounds crazy, but you have Lloyd's of London guaranteeing any theft or any loss. It's pretty big.
I mean that I'm actually considering moving a bulk of mine to Caleb and Brown because that takes the stress off. And I'm an advocate for less stress. I love the your keys, your crypto, and all of those types of things. But boy, transferring it to there and having a point person. Originally when it came to Caleb and Brown, I didn't know about them, and they were in Australia, and I was like, I don't know, it's another country, and are they good? Are they whatever? But I have seen, no matter whether you're a Bitcoin person or an XRP person or whatever, everybody speaks highly of Caleb and Brown. And
That's right.
so, and now you're saying Lloyd's of London and that, and I'm like, wow. Is there any downside, I guess, because I want to poke a little bit, because it all sounds positive to me. Is there any downside?
The time frame, when they're in their office, it's the middle of our night and vice versa. I mean, that's kind of tricky sometimes. But no, I don't. I've known about Caleb and Brown for a very long time, but really, I've just switched to him recently. Elizabeth and I have, and I will tell you, everything I ever heard about them was good. And I've heard from a lot of people for a long time. We opened our account a long time ago. We just never really put our coins in it or anything like that. But the other thing about them that most people don't like, they don't see it as a positive, but it really is. Like Keda was just saying, there's something about being able to text somebody or write an email and get a response back. But you can also talk to a human being on the phone, right? Which is so huge for many of us, because I prefer that. But it's really when they're on top of their market, which they are, they'll tell you, okay. Oh, that was the downside too. They don't have every coin.
I was going to say that they don't have it.
They don't have every coin, but they have a lot of them. But they'll tell you, they'll be like, well, because you can ask them, hey, what do you think of this? What have you heard? What's going on with that? And that's a broker who's talking to hundreds of people or emailing hundreds of people, and they got the flow of things. And they're really, I heard from a good friend who's using them that they're coming out with not an indicator, but like a help with trading. Hey, have you looked at this before you bought this coin? They
thing. Actually did mention that to me when I was speaking with them. Just to let you know, when I actually signed up, my broker actually called me. They called me to get my account set up.
Nice.
And the beauty of that was they told me in the conversation, hey, if you have any coins that you don't see on here, let me know. We can get that coin listed.
I've heard that.
And so, it's for those of us that might be looking into something like a VLO or Stronghold or something like that, that may be a little bit more obscure and has like a smaller, circulating supply. That may be something that, they may not necessarily be up on, but they are definitely apt to want to, to get that if that's something that people are asking for.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah. How long have you been with them?
About a year.
Oh, okay.
I had signed up with them. Once I really had kind of solidified my own, portfolio and what I was looking to actually be invested in. As they started to close off like off ramps and on ramps and all of those different things, which they will do out. What they will do is you needed to be able to find a way to be able to liquidate in, and then because of the fact that they do not have a limit on how much you can liquidate. That's a beautiful thing because I asked about that specifically, and they told me we don't have a limit. And now that you're saying there was Lloyd's, of London, that makes total sense because that's where they base their liquidity out.
That's it.
For them to say that, let me know that, I was doing the right thing because I wanted to be able to say, okay, well, what if it goes to this number? How am I going to do that if they have a $10,000 limit per month in the United States that you can withdraw? Who does
right?
That?
And
the U.S.
That's the problem with Coinbase, right? Like every time there's big volume days, you can only sell your Bitcoin.
Yes.
What?
Yeah.
Or the site is like frozen. You can't even log on.
Frozen.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen.
What a
They
coinky dink.
I know. They'll actually send you an email and say, hey, I got an email that said, hey, the Ripple case has been decided and XRP is no longer a security. There's been a liquidity event. Do you want to cash? That's what they do.
Nice. Yeah, that's cool.
So, when they see something that's exciting that may be doing a lot of numbers, then they come to you and say, hey, I don't know if you are thinking about this coin. Have you heard of this? So it just really just depends on you and what you kind of discuss with your broker.
I need to move on this because
Yeah, you
I have a
should.
feeling that that will be grandfathered in, because once the public really gets wind, I can imagine that they're going to have to raise the limit and such to control the volume, because there's only so many people you
Yes.
can onboard, right? And you want to
Yeah.
have
Right.
quality of service and all those types of things. So you guys are inspiring me you're lighting a fire under my arse.
And
Well,
I also
Sign
think,
up.
and I also believe that they also have a way for, if I'm not mistaken, I believe they have custody as well outside of, almost like how standard custody has
Yeah.
custody services. I
I've heard.
believe they also have custody services as well.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that they have an interest yield on said
Yeah.
said custody, but they do have that available to you as well. And you can get an account either underneath your actual personal, or you
Yeah.
can also utilize your LLC as well if you wanted to do that.
Nice.
Mm.
I had an individual, I think I was telling you this, Melissa, last week. I had an individual that we would all know in the XRP community who's pretty well off, let's just say. And he said he wanted to buy a bunch of Bitcoin, a bunch of it. And I don't know whether it was a group of people or what he had going on, but he was like, Allan, where do I get, it was a lot. Like, I'm like, I don't know. Are you kidding me? I don't know. I don't have, those kind of deep pockets. Are you kidding me? I'm just a guy here on YouTube. And he's like, oh, okay. Well, I just thought maybe you might know somebody with some connections and this, that. And I was like, Caleb and Brown, have you called him yet? And I got a text, I think an email. I got a text going, they'll fill any size order you got. And I was like, what? Like, I had no idea they were that liquid.
Yep.
So yeah,
That's
huge.
incredible.
Yeah.
It is. So that means you can get it out too, which is key.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, do we have any final thoughts? We're 5 minutes over. I'm really enjoying this conversation. Final thoughts, Keda, you have anything you wanna end with?
I want to say thank you, Allan, for coming and having this great conversation with us. I can't even tell you how honored I am to have you here and to chat with you. And I do want to say we're in the right place at the right time with the right people.
Oh yeah.
And I do feel like it's important for us as the quote unquote chosen to really find ways to do great things for the people around us, and into prosperity, because there's a reason that we were put here for this. You know what I mean? And we have to really think about that and the weight of what that is. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And I appreciate everybody that's come out to hear us tonight and to be able to have this conversation with all of you. And Melissa, I love you, girl.
Oh, I love you. Thank you, Allan.
Thank you for the kind words, Kira. I was really contemplating. I had a 7-hour drive today. I think I said it earlier, and it gives you time to think and go through stuff, so when I do some of my best phone calls and thinking, and I couldn't get over the fact of how, like, why now? Why have, like, the channel is one thing, but it's the people I've met and the people we're going to meet in Vegas. And it's overwhelming at times. You're like, wow, there's so much outpouring and people are saying such kind things about you. And you're just a person, right? We're all in this together, and Becky has been in the chat all night, and I've been chatting with her lately. And I just have to say, there's so many people that can't afford to be there, or whether or not she can or not, I'm not implying that. But the point of the matter is we live in this system. And the system is this debt-based debt slavery system, right? That we all kind of are aware of, right? Yeah. But I really would like to see crypto one day bring us into a place, and it's in my opinion, the only financial aspect or avenue that I can see that's really going to help us get to the place where all of us have a roof, all of us have enough food, all of us have enough water, and free travel. And I don't mean free as in you don't have to pay for it. I mean, everybody should be able to have the financial wherewithal for all four of those things. And for the first time in my entire lifetime, in particular, being an economist for as long as I have, I see that opportunity for virtually everyone. And it's an adoption that they don't know they need yet. But when they find out, they're going to get it. And the people are going to get it. And the people holding the strings right now, they can't hold that back forever, because this is that big. And I know I'm preaching to the choir here because I know everybody in this chat knows that. But it's so important to remember how early we are, how fortunate we are to know what we know, and how everybody's going to come to know you as the people in your society, your communities, as the person that got it. And you're going to be a pillar of your community, and it's going to be amazing. Your grandkids are going to look up to you, and that's a beautiful thing, right? So, yeah.
Oh, I love that. I love that so much. I just want to say, you know, Simon and I thank you both so very much for offering to co-host the show. We love you both. I love you both. And I know Simon does too. I couldn't ask for a better group of people to be associated with. And I'm looking forward to learning more and growing. Super excited for Vegas, of course. And again, we appreciate everyone that comes to see our show, Dip-a-Toe, our little Dip-a-Toe show. 82 of you watching the show. We so much appreciate you. You guys coming in here chatting, New Mindset and Becky and Brent and Crypto Professor and Money Paradise and
Theo Trini
and Theo Trini, all of you guys that come every week. It really means a lot to us. And so we just want to say thank you. Simon's in the chat right now and says, love you all. We love you too, Simon. Yeah, and so with that, we hope next week, actually, it's going to be kind of awkward and exciting at the same time, because we are going to be in Vegas. And so with Simon and I think we're probably going to try to live stream our show, and we'll be in the same room at the same time. And so super excited for that. And so looking forward to it. Guys, thank you so much. I hope you have a great rest of your evening, and we will see you guys on the flip side. Have a good rest of your day. Vegas, baby.